We have 2 more minutes? All right. Yeah. He's on vacation this week. So he's on the beach somewhere. Mexico, that's right, Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta.
So, all right. Well, if we're ready, we'll get going then. I think it's right about 9 o'clock. I see the on-air thing. So, thank you for coming. For those that have been here a lot, I'm Sean Bluebaum. I'm our senior project manager at Sundt. For those that haven't, welcome. Thank you for coming. I always bring a couple of extra folks, a couple of team members. Try to mix it up every month for people that you haven't met yet as part of your team. I think last month I told you I was going to bring Oswaldo. For those that were here last month, I actually decided instead to bring our 2 folks in charge of the Vita Center, since that has now kicked off. So hopefully that'll be of interest. So let them introduce themselves real quick, and then they'll do a slide in a little bit more in depth. But go ahead, Maddie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maddie Marcolina. I am the project engineer for Vita Center. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on site and around campus. I'll let Angel introduce himself.
Good morning. I'm Angel Valador, and I'm the
Yeah, just put it close.
superintendent at the Vita Center. I'm sure I've seen a few folks coming over and saying hello, and that's awesome.
Yep.
I've been here for a little while working on the villas, trying to get those completed. So now I'm finishing that and starting the Vita Center. So
Yep.
really excited to be on that project. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, Angel. Angel joined us into December.
Yep.
And Maddie moved here from Texas. She was on some Sundt work over there in San Antonio, Dallas, and came over here about
a month ago.
Yeah, about a month. So happy to have them both join our team and get the Vita Center really going. So. All right. So as always, this is well, I have to tell you a funny story first. Telling Gretchen earlier. I was made fun of earlier today because I call this a slide deck. And I was told by one of our younger engineers that slides don't exist anymore. This is a presentation. So hopefully that'll make me and everybody else a little bit more hip. So this is what we're building. As far as Inspirata, this is what it's going to look like when we're done. And this is what it looks like right now. So you can see it's starting to really take shape and look very similar to the rendering. We're in all the various buildings and really starting to get pretty much topped out, which is what we refer to it when the structures are up entirely. So we'll be topped out structurally this month. The last structure still going up is in the north wing of what we call C building and what you guys know as D. All right. So we'll stick to our regular agenda. We'll start with a safety share because we always start our meetings with safety. And then do a project overview and talk about some progress photos and upcoming work and answer any questions anybody has. And as normal, please feel free to shout out, raise your hand, ask questions as we go through it as well. All right. So for our safety share this month, we decided to focus on what we call Sticky Week. Now up here it says Safety Week, but that is this week. So nationally right now, it is Construction Safety Week this week. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that it started in May of 2014, and about 40 construction companies started it. There's now 65 this year, and essentially it's a focus on safety by the entire industry for a week. So even though we're focused on it all the time, it's a heightened focus, and also it's meant to inspire everyone in the industry to make safer choices, and it's meant to be a learning experience. So a couple of stats: over 90,000 workers are injured every year in construction, and in 2018, 1,080 workers were killed on the job. Okay, Nobody should be killed or hurt going to work. And those numbers are way too high. And so this week is meant to bring awareness to that. So over the course of the week, we have events every day. We're thanking everybody for their participation in and recognize their efforts towards safety. We're trying to increase awareness and the importance of it. Believe it or not, there are people that go to work in our industry and safety is the furthest thing from their mind, and that can't be the case. We have to have people making choices with safety in the front of their mind, right? And that's how we'll get better collectively. And then we encourage everyone to share their best practices and work together. So that's part of why we do a safety share every day, every meetings, to just always keep it in mind, right? Um, I'm curious. I'm going to put Angel and Maddie on the spot a little bit, right? We're in the middle of Safety Week. Maybe tell everybody a little bit about what we've done the past couple of days.
Yes, so we started, and yesterday we did a session on safety gloves and how important it is because there's quite a bit of injuries because we're always using our hands, and that was very helpful because there's an array of gloves that all the workers can wear for whatever task that they're doing. We carry our gloves with us constantly, and while we're out on site, it's really, really important just to remind them. A lot of guys forget. They grab their cell phone. The gloves don't allow them. Gloves don't allow them to use their cell phone, so they take it off, forget to put it back on. But we did that yesterday, and then the day before we did fall protection. As shown on the photos, we're up at elevated third floor, fourth floor, and a lot of these framers get close to the edge, so they're always tied off. So we went through that, the harnesses that they have to use, what type of fall arrest system, and fall protection, because it's really important to make sure that in the event that something happens and they slip, that they're not going to exit the building, so it'll catch them and make sure that they're safe. So those were the two, and I believe today we're doing ladder
Yep.
safety.
Yeah, and I'll go through the whole rest of the week in a minute, but generally just want to give you guys an idea of that this is a big week in our industry this week, and it's really important. And then one thing I didn't touch on a little bit was conducting on-site safety awareness to support education. So one of the best things I saw yesterday was we got done with our presentation on gloves, and we had 15 or 20 people come over to the table to talk to the glove guy about the different options, because not all gloves are the same, not all protect you from the same, and so that was great. That's people in our industry trying to get smarter and get better at what they do and safer at what they do. So now, all these say Safety Week because that's what the rest of the industry calls it. At Sundt, we always got to Sundtize everything, right? We try to put our spin on everything, it seems. So we call it Sticky Week, right? So these are the shirts we made for this year. So you're going to see, if you watch construction, hopefully you see a lot of the guys wearing those, guys and gals, over the course of the rest of the job. But we gave those out to all of the employees, both Sundt and non-Sundt, yesterday to promote Sticky Week. And the reason we call it Sticky Week is the amount of construction injuries has gone down steadily over the past 20, 30 years, but fatalities have stayed the same. So we're injuring less and killing the same. So where should our focus be, right? What's worse, right? Guys are cutting their hand less and getting less first aid, but we're still killing the same amount of people. That's a failure, right? So you can call it stuff that can kill you. You can call it shit that can kill you. You can call it whatever. I put an asterisk there for sake of TV political correctness there, but it's something we call it shit that can kill you. That's what Sticky stands for. And so what we're trying to do is have everybody focus on those things first, and then the other stuff hopefully will just happen. We have as Angel talked about, PPE, fall protection gloves, things like that. But if we focus on making smart choices around the stuff like electrical and like falls and things that can actually really, really hurt you and kill you potentially, we're going to be better off. That's the idea. So this is a picture. This is Sierra, by the way. You guys met a long time ago on our team. And then this is a picture of the guys just from Monday. We had an ice cream truck out there while we talked about working at heights. And then, as Angel said, we talked about gloves on Tuesday. Wednesday, today's ladders. Tomorrow is small tools. And then Friday is one that's really become a focus industry-wide over the last couple of years, and it's mental health. There's an incredibly high suicide rate in construction. And so there is a very large focus on figuring out why and making sure people feel comfortable talking about it. It's kind of a macho industry, right? And a lot of people don't want to talk about what's going on. So we want to make sure everybody feels comfortable with that. So, any questions on Sticky Week? You'll see us gather at different times of the day. If you're watching the job, and that's what we're doing. We'll get everybody stopping work and gathering around to talk about these things. Okay, let's get into the why I work safe from our two folks here today. Angel?
So the first photo, that's my daughter and son and my granddaughter. My daughter Lauren's 25, and my son is he's going to be 30 next week. And this beautiful granddaughter is 6 years old. So they're my pride and joy, and I work safely to always get home and make sure that I'm there for them. This is Cherie. She's my significant other. She makes sure that I have a smile on my face every day. And no matter how rough it is at work, I get home and she always happens to be able to make that happen. But this little girl is Roxy, or as I call her, Foxy Roxy. She's been with me for 15 years. She's a Chinese crested, and yeah, you can see by the photo, my heart just melts when I come home to her. And it's kind of funny when I take a shower, getting ready to go to work. She'll sit outside the shower and just look at me, wait for me to come out and pet her and say goodbye. And then one of the hobbies that I have been doing for a few years is I'm a collector of Lladros. I'm sure some of you folks are familiar with Lladros. My mother was from Spain, and she had a small collection, and I took it's a passion for me because I'm really interested, and every figurine is different. It's amazing how they make them, and they're so realistic. Anyhow, it's one of my hobbies, so my current collection, I think, exceeds like 240 pieces, so it's pretty big. So if you guys want to talk about Lladros, feel free. I love that subject. So those are some of the reasons why I work safe every day.
One of the greatest stories I'll interject about Angel is he sent me a video recently of that little dog right there.
Yeah.
And that dog tends to want to attack every other animal that comes on TV.
Yeah.
So the dog literally jumped up off the couch to go bark at whatever on TV.
When she was a puppy for the first 6 months, she never barked. So I thought, well, maybe that's the breed. I don't know. And she would sit there and watch TV with me, and then I would point at the TV and go get him. And ever since then, she'll be in a different room, and a commercial will come on with the music, and she knows the jingle, so she'll come running across the room and start barking at the TV. And it could be an elephant, whatever. But yeah, it is pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. All right, and then we'll get Maddie next.
In the top corner, sorry guys. In the top corner, you can see that it says that we work safe for yourself, for your family, and then for your coworkers. So I tried to model that as well. This is my family here. I have one sister, and then my mom and dad, and so that's my family. And then here's my sister and I in Flagstaff. I went to NAU for college for engineering, and then after that, I moved to Texas. So I love to travel. Yeah, I just love being outside. So that's one of my hobbies, hiking, traveling, just getting out and doing anything outdoorsy. So I put a hiking photo in there as well. That's in the Rocky Mountains last year with my sister.
Perfect.
So yeah, why I work safe is my family, and just so that I can continue to do my hobbies and spend time with my family and my friends, and
Good.
a little bit about myself.
Good. I think mom and dad were happy. They live here, so
Yeah.
when we moved Maddie back from Texas over here, I think that was a good thing for mom and dad.
Yes, definitely. My dad works in construction, so that's kind of how I got into engineering. So it's good to be back and have him see me what I'm doing here a little bit more than further away. So
Yep. So just real quickly, so you guys know, so I told you Angel and Maddie are in charge of the Vita Center. So basically how it works is Angel's the superintendent in charge of that, and Maddie's the engineer. So a pairing of a superintendent and an engineer, that's kind of a standard pairing that can build anything, right? Because one is doing a lot of the administrative and the engineering, the other one is doing a lot of the building. So that's why we wanted to bring them both for sure. All right, let's get into some project overview and updates. We'll get the drone video going, and I'll try to stop it without my partner in crime up here yelling at me to stop it, so I'll yell at myself. Let's see. So the villa's open, right? That's a big deal. Long time coming. No. That only took about 2 seconds now. Yes. Yeah, so the question was about the missing garage doors. So we have 10 garage doors. We have all the openers. What we don't have is the actual doors, right, to open. As of yesterday, they were supposed to ship April 27th. That did not happen. We're now hearing that they are shipping this week, like Friday. Unfortunately, we've heard that before. So we'll keep updating with them every week and make sure they ship as soon as we can actually get them to ship. But they're coming from Nebraska, so it's not a long way away. Once they do ship, we'll get there quick and we'll get them in. But funny story about the garage doors. When we went to open the villas, what we realized was we didn't have it coordinated right to where every place that had a door had a motor, or every place that had a motor had a door. So we had some doors that were just down and had no way of, coming up. And so we had to quickly shift around some motors and things to where the 10 we have all function. So.
And I might chime in that fortunately only 10 people have moved in, so everybody who's living there has a garage door.
Yeah. We really, like I say, the few times, or multiple times, the date is pushed off, but this is the shortest it's pushed off. So they're saying, hey, we didn't get it last week, but they'll get out, by Friday or whatever. So I anticipate we'll have them pretty soon. Who knew, right? Yeah, right now, we talk a lot about supply and issues here in this meeting, and there are now some garage doors and some electrical gear that are 56 plus weeks out from the time you order. It's unbelievable, right? How long some of those items are. Okay, so there's A2. Hopefully everybody's happy over there. I know we've started the warranty process, and Sarah and Todd and Oz are communicating pretty much daily with Royal Oaks on any of that type of things. Okay, here is the B and C building. So this is the three-story. So where we're at, you can see both of them are roofed now. So we're dry. We've got windows going in all over the place. Basically, they're almost all in the C building. I'm sorry, and the B building is just following right behind that. You've got the Tyvek wrap, which is the stucco wrap paper that goes on. This building is all but done. The only section that's not done is where the bridges are, because we're finishing building the bridges. I got a picture of that later for you guys. And then the B building, that'll wrap pretty soon. That'll get started as soon as we get all the windows in. They'll start going with that. We've got a lot of scaffold up too, so we've got to be a little bit careful to not just scaffold everything and have issues with access and issues with just the amount of scaffold out there too. So that's a little bit of why we haven't wrapped the other section of that building yet till we need to. What you've got on the inside there, you've got a lot of mechanical, electrical, plumbing rough-in. You've got pre-rock, so you've got the drywall that goes above the rough-in, and then we'll rough in, and then you get another drywall there that becomes your actual ceiling, right? So if you have a mechanical unit or something, you don't want to see it in your living room or your hallway, so we got to put drywall up, and then the unit, and then drywall again, is how it works. So they call that pre-rock, so we're doing a lot of that right now out there. So you can see we got screen wall posts, which is nobody's ever going to think about again, but those have been a huge topic of conversation construction-wise, to try to make sure that the screen walls are tall enough to block the units for the most part and help with the noise and all that sort of thing. You can see them building the bridges. You can see they're up on the top one right now. So pretty cool. We got a pretty cool shot from looking up on those, so I'll show you guys later. All of this is in an effort to do two things. One, stucco the outside, and two, drywall the inside, right? We're working with all the guts of the building to get to that point. So once we get to that point, then you can really start finishing things out. You can see building D. Our pilot's going to take a turn here, though, so we'll come back to building D. I'm sorry, F, construction building D, the fun building. There's the inside. This is pretty cool because you can start to see, here's where your big water feature is getting ready to go, and courtyard area. So we've got you can start to see some columns where we've got some outdoor ceiling areas, and you've got a big water feature that goes in here. So that area is really neat. When you go stand in it, and you can kind of feel like you're in the middle of a campus, right, instead of in the middle of a construction site. It's pretty cool. And you can see this guy walking extremely fast because Glenn sped up the video. He's not that fast. All right, so we're coming around. This is all the D&E building. So we're on the south face of D right here, and there's E. See, this one also has been roofed, and the roofers are moving over in that direction. That's where they'll go next. And then this one actually has paper and foam around the outside. It's a little bit further along stucco-wise. Basically, we have to have the weight in the building before we can apply the stucco, because otherwise the stucco will crack, right? Because you can't load the building up afterwards and with a cementitious material on the outside. So as soon as we get done with the rough-in in that building, then we'll load it with all the drywall that goes in the whole building, which will get all the weight on it, and then we'll be able to, you'll see the finish coat go on. So that'll all be happening in pretty short order over the next few weeks. So you can see we're topped out there and ready for the roofers. So they're heading that direction. All right, and then we get sort of to the inside of D&E, and there is our last section of structure that's not quite framed. So that would be the north portion of D, and you can see they're on the third level with one still to go. So they're going to get done this month with that. It doesn't take them extremely long when they get to that point. So you can see they're setting roof trusses. That's what these are right here. That's your roof. It's your roof for the third floor, and it's your floor for the fourth floor. So they're setting that right now. Once they do that, it won't take them long for they'll sheet it, and they'll jump up a level and build that last level. And those walls are built. You know, we've talked a lot about all the prefab walls. Those walls are all built. So as soon as they get up, we'll get them out there and get them standing. You can see some of the elevator and stair cores that are out there. Yeah, we're getting close to being topped out. That should happen here in the month of May, and then it's all drywall and stucco and interior stuff. So it's a big milestone for us. Another very fast-moving worker. So one of the things that I hope you consistently see and we monitor daily is that every time these guys are doing this, as Angel talked about, they're tied off, right? Even though they walk these every day, right? We can't have them get complacent. And if they fall, we certainly want to make sure they don't hit that floor below. So. All right, now we'll go over to the fun building. So, pretty interesting. My first pictures that I started putting in this presentation did not have that yellow Dens glass up. So then I saw the video and I went back and looked at some pictures from yesterday, and we basically have done that this week. That yellow. So that's your exterior. That's basically an exterior grade cement board, if you will, that goes ahead of the stucco. So you can see we've got most of the metal deck on. There are some areas in here and over there where we're just finishing some details of the decking there. Yes, ma'am. Well, so the question is, can we point out where the different things are? You're talking community room, bar, things like that, now that it's up? Yeah, it's...
We have more pictures.
We have some pictures. So I got a picture of where the bar goes. So the community room is on the north side of it. But you know what? I can't say that I could, from this picture, be able to say exactly where everything was. I'm sorry.
Sean, do you want me to come up? and
If you
point?
can, yeah, that would be great.
Be happy to. Okay. So this is the north side, and this is the entrance from the street that's by the villas. Okay, so the villas are over here. Okay, and there's actually an entrance in here into this lobby building, and there isn't any staff like we have at the front desk at this lobby building, but it's a nice place to go inside where people can wait if they're being picked up by transportation. It's also where the mail room is in the lobby building on this side for all of the apartments in B, C, D, and E. So there's one mail room for everybody. And then there's an outdoor breezeway that's right here, and this is where the fun building starts. And so here is fine dining. This is where Azul will be. Up here is the bar, Copper Sky, and that faces the courtyard where the water feature is that Sean mentioned earlier. And then here is Indigo Kitchen, and that's where the casual dining will be. And then this is all back of house kitchen. There's an employee staff room, food storage, and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
All right, we'll show you, so that you can see the entrance to the garage. We've got a picture in there also of some storage that we're doing in the garage that I think you guys will find interesting. You know, yeah, we should do that. I know we've taken some pictures, but yeah, I don't think we've done that yet. So we'll see. I don't know. I think part of the problem is I don't know that the GPS will keep picking it up, right, when you get in there. So we may crash it, but we'll give it a try. Yeah, we've got some lights down there, so it's they're actually cool. You walk through it, and they get bright as you walk. So they're not on all the time, but yeah. Yeah, they're doing good. If you go on the inside and you'll see some pictures, we've got mechanical ductwork running everywhere. We've passed basic ductwork roughing inspection in a lot of areas, and they're insulating it and getting through, and we'll get the roofers going over there as well pretty soon. We've got more screen walls to put over there. Then we'll get the roofers going. All right, and Glenn's always, he likes his dramatic exit shot. So any questions on that video? I've got another one of Vita to go next. So before we move to Vita, any questions on that video? Yes, ma'am. So the question was, what's the water feature going to be like? It is basically a big rectangle, more pool-like than sort of big spewing fountain-like. But it does have some fountains in it. I can't pretend to be an expert on the details of it, other than it's a big rectangle. So I can tell you that. No, it's deeper than that. I don't remember the depth exactly. I know it's big enough to where this is obviously where, where my head's at with it. It's got like a 10-inch concrete slab, which doesn't mean anything to how deep the water is, but yeah, I want to say it's 12 or 18 inches somewhere in there. It's definitely deeper than 6. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a good question. So the question is all the flat roofs and how we keep them from having issues, and if we slope them, and how we deal with that. And the answer is yes. So if you actually had some pictures I almost put on there where you can see, even though they look white and flat, they have crickets. So they have slopes that are built into the foam underneath the roofing that direct all the water to drains and scuppers, so that it never just sits on there. So, and then technology-wise, they've come a long way. The product we have on there is thermoplastic. It's TPO. It's a rubberized, basically, sheet. It's, I want to say 60 mils is what we have up there, but don't quote me on that. But it's the technology's come a long way to where these are pretty standard roofs here that perform very well. Angel, did you have?
Just piggyback on that, like he said, it is sloped, and they put crickets and tapered insulation underneath, so the water is constantly moving towards the roof drains. You won't find any areas that will sit or pond with water. The rep for the TPO company will come out and verify that everything is installed per spec. But yeah, it is sloping.
It's a good question. Even the bridges. So the top bridge has a roof that either slopes like this, so the water gets out to the other roofs and then gets to the drains, or it slopes one direction and gets to the adjacent roof and goes out to the drains. Yes, ma'am. So the answer is, do we have operable windows, and if so, if they have screens? And the answer to that is yes. So I'm not sure if we're casement windows in the villas where they crank and they open and they have screens like that. As far as the other units, I don't remember if they're slide over or if they're casement, but yeah.
Yeah, and the casement windows only open a few inches. It's not like they open all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they do have screens. Sliding door will open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, good question. Anything else? Yes, sir. So the question is, are the cooling requirements on the steel building greater than the stick built? It's a good question. I don't know, Angel. Do you know what we have over there?
So yes, there's more units in that building to serve individual spaces, whereas in the stick build you have one unit per resident. residents. So when you go through the bar area, that'll have its own unit, the kitchen area. So there are multiple units for that building. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's a bunch of fan coil units for each space, and there are different thermostats for each space.
It's a good point about the kitchen load too. For those that couldn't hear, you talked about the extra load for large gatherings and for food service, and those are definitely accounted for with the size of our units. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I want to make sure I understand the question. So the question is construction between the apartments to keep out noise from the other apartments. So I assume that's because B and C are going to open first, and then D and E are going to open a few months later. Is that the concern?
Party wall.
Oh, yeah. So we have what they call party walls. So essentially, it's a wall and then another wall with a space in between, right? And they're both insulated, and there's a layer of drywall on the inside, so that that noise does not transfer in any of the common walls between units. The ceilings. Question was on the ceilings. The ceilings are fully stuffed. So what that means is from the bottom of truss all the way to the floor of the next, it is stuffed full with bat insulation. And then you've also got your layer of drywall, and in the areas that have, like I said, mechanical units or anything like that, you have another layer of drywall above that. So on top of that, there's what they call gypcrete on the floor. So you've got a wood deck, and then you've got something they call acoustomat. It's an acoustical layer to dampen sound from upstairs down, and then you have a layer of concrete, flowable concrete that's 2 inches thick or 3 inches thick that goes so that is all underneath your flooring. So if somebody's upstairs stomping, right, it doesn't transfer down to the unit below. That makes sense? So, and all of that, by the way, is part of a big acoustical study that was done on the design side before we got out here to say, hey, this is what you need to do in all of these areas, including at the fun building, to make sure that noise isn't transferring from one space to another. Good questions. Any others? All right, let's take a look at Vita. That's not Vita. All right, so Angel, I'll let you and Maddie sort of walk through this. Let me know when you want to stop and point out anything.
Yeah, so that you can stop there. So this is what we're going to use for the construction entrance. Here's the existing trash enclosure for reference. It's a little deceiving. If you can back it up just a few.
No, that's high level.
Yeah. If you can't, that's okay.
We'll just do this.
Right there is good. So the actual, at the end of the day, when we're done, the actual road will turn, will be more in this direction, and it will turn around the building. We currently left the pavement out front because they're using the trash enclosure, but the actual road that goes around the building is further to the west. But you can go ahead with that. As we go around, if you stop there, this is the pool pit. The pool will go inside of this space. So we have placed the walls that go, about half of the pool area has been poured. And then this Thursday, we're going to pour the balance of the pool walls. This is all the deep stuff. It's down about 8 feet. Friday, we'll start stripping it, and then we'll start waterproofing around the walls. And then next week, we're gonna backfill everything and get it right back to grade. So all that work that's going in at the end and the next week, when you go out there, it'll look like nothing was done. So it's all backfilled. And then here, if you stop there, you could see some of the footings. We actually placed these yesterday on the west end. The building is an L shape, if it helps. It comes this way and then turns like that. So this is the PTOT space. This is the pool area. And I want to say the hair salon is in this, right where the truck is, if that helps any. That's important.
Yeah.
And then the road comes around the east side of the property. And then if we can fast forward,
We will.
right there is good. And then this is where this is going to be a turnaround for the fire trucks. Okay, so it goes around the building. There'll be a gate right here, and then this is for the fire truck in case they need to come out. And then there's a small retention area that goes around this cul-de-sac. And then the water that comes off the roof of the building to the north, all that water will go into this retention. And then from this retention, we're going to connect it from here in case it overflows into the existing underground retention that's in that grass area.
Angel, you might want to touch on why we have this big pool room, or I can, either way.
So the reason it's so big is the pool itself is roughly 18 feet, 17 and a half feet long. But in the bottom of that area, you won't see it because you'll walk out, it'll be tiled and you'll see the pool. Underneath it will be all the mechanical equipment for that space. So it needed to be bigger to suit that equipment. But then again, when you go out there, you're just going to see the pool itself. All the equipment will be down below it with an access door to get to it.
We talked to the pool company yesterday, and we're still finalizing our approach to that, but it's looking more and more likely that we'll basically build it outside of that pit and lift it up and put it in. So we'll let you guys know. If that's the case, we'll obviously communicate when that's going to happen. Might be a good opportunity to watch.
Yeah, they'll bring it out in several pieces, assemble it. It's starting to sound like they'll assemble it out here. They'll get a crane, and then they'll fly it into the space. And then if you stop right there, this area is going to be a retention basin for water, but underneath that, there are storm tanks. They're 10-foot diameter corrugated pipe that will go down 20 feet, and that'll pick up, it'll take the water off the road, it'll go into these storm tanks, and then from the storm tanks, they connect to dry wells. So it takes all the surface water, puts it into this space, it'll be stored in tanks, and then it'll just naturally perk into the ground. We're going to start that work. We were slated to start it later this month. It sounds like we're going to start it in June. So if you guys come out in June, you'll see this will be a 20-foot deep hole. So it'd be interesting to watch. And then you'll see these round 10-foot pipes on site. So that's indicative of the storm tanks. So
Yeah, some of you may have seen them. We have had a similar system at Inspirata along the west edge of the site, where we had the big 10, 12-foot pipes. Yes, sir. Yeah, so the question is how many acres of retention basin we have at Inspirata Point. I do not know that number, but I know why you're asking, right? Because whether it's the dog park or whether it's behind the villas or everything is sloped and seems to have a bit of a swale and drainage to it. So there's dry wells over there to take on that water. Otherwise, those would be even deeper to naturally perk. I would say, even though it seems like a lot, we have the minimum required to take on what would be a 100-year storm. So they have to design all of these properties to take on what almost never happens here, because if it does happen, they don't want everybody's units flooded, right, and the buildings flooded. So I don't know if some of you remember 2009 or 10, it might have been 2010, we had huge, massive storms blow through. And we were building at the time, or at least the job I was on, was the Post and Butte High School out on Ironwood Road. And Ironwood Road was being built out going towards Apache Junction and then down towards Highway. And that particular design did not take into account for the 100-year storm, and the storm that blew through here was considered like a 75-year, and it flooded all the way up to the doors of the high school. Like the water was as tall as the light pole bases in all the parking lots. So this one, I know for a fact, has been designed to where if that happens, that won't happen here, right? Oh my gosh, yeah, there was a ton. Yeah, yeah. I have a picture of a poor lady that came to the school to see what was going on and decided to drive through the parking lot and high centered her car on something she couldn't see because it was underwater, right? And but I can look up what that number is for next time. I just don't know the exact total. I know that at the end when we were opening the villas, one of the last pieces we had to do was confirm that we had enough grading and drainage out there with the county, and which is why on Wednesday, a couple weeks ago, the week we opened, we had to do a last minute percolation test on at the north cul-de-sac on the little retention there, because we hadn't proved that little one could take on its fair share of the water yet. So, good question. What else? Yes, so two questions. One is, do we anticipate D&E being finished on schedule? The answer to that is yes, and I'll show you that in the slide I put up every month. Yes, we do. D&E are March of 2023, B and C are November of 2022. And the other question was, where's the parking for Vita?
So the parking is on the east side of the building. So they'll be parking right along here. When you turn to the south, I believe there's 4 handicap spots, and then there's parking along the south side, and then about 15 spots along the east side as well. So there's parking all the way around the building, up close to the building, if that makes sense. The entrance will be here. Oh, the building will be right here, just left of the pool area. So from the pool area, this is where the bathrooms are going to be, just to the west of the pool area, and then the main entrance. And then there's also a secondary entrance. This is going to be a long hallway with all storefronts. There's an entrance here as well on the east side of this north wing.
Good. I don't have a picture of the floor plan in here. There's a little action shot, placing some spread footings. Yeah. More guys working fast. These guys are working hard out there.
Except for this guy right here, this little guy right here.
Yeah.
He's always standing there with a grin on his face.
Talking to Jason, the safety guy.
Yes, sir. That was me, by the way. I was poking fun at myself.
Now, I encourage you all, as Angel said, once this all gets placed, we'll backfill all this, and it'll look like we've been doing nothing. So go to the fence and yell at him
Yes,
about
please,
nothing being
please.
done. What have you been doing for the past 3 months?
And if you do see me on a water truck, just stay away. All those workers have yelled at me in the last week or two because I spray them with water, not wanting to, but just trying to keep the dust down.
Yeah, so I know there's been some concern with dust over there. We are watering that constantly, trying to make sure it doesn't get dusty. We had
Right.
Maricopa County come out and do an inspection during the groundbreaking. Their timing was perfect, right? And,
so you'll see me on a hose. We have about 200 foot of hose stretched across here. You'll see me spraying it down at the entrance. We have a water truck that we share with Inspirata Pointe, so Jimmy will come out 3 times a day. And then at the end of the day, around 2:30, I'll take the water truck and I'll wet everything so it's good overnight. So in case it gets windy after we're gone.
People driving fast, just like the workers.
Yeah, and here you could see again, the road there's a retention. The new road will come around the building, follow it around, and then this is the fire truck turnaround. It's a very good picture.
The street right there is 99th Avenue, for those who are having a hard
Right.
time figuring out where
Yeah.
we're at.
So this is north, that's south, right?
Right.
South.
So,
Yeah.
So that's 99th Avenue, and then Santa Fe would be at the top of the picture.
Yeah, don't fall off the stage. All right.
Yes. Great question. That's the way it was designed. So I think in the bigger scheme, I believe that turnaround goes away in future building.
Yeah, you may recall in our initial design, we had the new healthcare center added on the back there. And so we still hope one day to build the new healthcare center. And so because we aren't demolishing the garden homes that are in the northeast cul-de-sac, there isn't room for the road to continue back there. So we needed a turnaround place for the fire trucks. And the reason they aren't exiting on 99th Avenue is we would need quite a bit of room for that. When you're driving down 99th, you'll notice there's a large slope there up to the wall. And to get the grade and approval to have a driveway there from the county is an exercise that we didn't want to go through, quite honestly. And it didn't fit the design intention either to allow us to have the buildings in the way we needed them to be on the property.
Great question.
All right, so let's take a look at some photos. Good questions today. This is villas, right? I've got 2 or 3 slides with some pictures. For those that haven't seen them, that's what they look like in their finished state.
And I might add, Sean, I believe next week, marketing is opening those up for anyone who wants to go through and see the models. I don't know what
Very
day
good.
next week, and I'm sure there'll be an announcement going out. Kitty, do you have an update? After the 9th, Kitty says there'll be availability to come see them. It's my understanding they'll be open, and you won't even need an appointment to go see them. And there is already model furniture in one of them, and it looks amazing, amazing.
Very good.
Kitty indicated marketing is having a rather large event for some prospects today over there they're excited about, but we encourage everyone to come next week, starting the 9th, to see the models and walk through some of those villas that are available. Thanks, Kitty.
All right. So a couple more. You can see the dog park there, which is open. So this is it's our B1, which would be your C. So this is the C building. You can see we talked about the pre-rock. That's pre-rock right there. So you can see you got a drywall layer, and then here's all the feeds for the mechanical units and various mechanical, electrical, plumbing items that go down the corridor there. So that is on the first floor of the C building. Here is the B building, south elevation looking north, and then that interior is an E1 unit. I don't know what the E1 is called in, fancy terms, but it's E1. So that's one of the units. You can see we've got framing up. You can kind of see some fire sprinklers and rough in and things, and some drywall starting to get stocked in there. This is the 4-story building. So this would be C East, which would be the the E building. This takes some practice, yeah. And then the C West, which would be the D building looking north, right? So the D building is a little bit further along than the E building. And then here we've got some interior shots. So this is in the 4-story building. This is a B2 view looking to the north. You can see where we're still framing on the 3rd floor there. And then you've got a corridor where we actually are framing. Right? And then again, we're doing pre-rock in there as well. We just don't have all the penetrations and MEP stuff yet on that. That's the 3rd floor of that particular building. So you can see both B and C are in pretty close to the same stages. B's a little bit ahead, or I'm sorry, B and C are a little bit ahead of D and E, but they're all in pretty similar stages of construction. And then here's the picture I was telling you about. These are the bridges, right? So you can see this is the 4-story. It's getting ready for bridges right there. That is the B building and the C building, and we're finishing off the top bridge right there. I thought that was a pretty cool picture. And then this is from the inside looking out at an area that has a bridge built right above it there. And then here you can see the fun building, right? As I said, we just did this week. And that right there is a picture of the bar. So that's what it looks like. Yeah, very modern, very minimal.
Open space.
Yeah, open concept. And then here was a couple pictures I just thought were really cool. This is an overhead shot where you can really see the fun building coming together. And then this is our brand new, just built underground storage, air-conditioned storage area in the garage. So basically, our cabinets for all of the other buildings start showing up in the next couple weeks this month. So we obviously aren't ready for cabinets yet, but the only way we could get them on time was to take them and figure it out. So we just built this. And see, this door was also our tester for the gel paint that's on the front doors of the villas right now. So we've got about 5,000, 6,000 square feet down there of enclosed space that we're pumping air conditioning into and are going to use to store all of the cabinets until we're ready for them. That's what the garage looks like too, by the way. It's pretty much concrete and sprinklers with some lights. All right, and then Maddie put together this great slide for the Vita. You want to talk about this a little bit, Maddie? Just talk about the pictures, yeah.
On the right side, we have some of the footings that we showed earlier. We had that video that was being shown where they were pouring them, the drone shot or the drone video. And then in the middle, we had that groundbreaking ceremony earlier last week. So we added a little picture from that. I hope everyone came out and attended our barbecue and the groundbreaking ceremony. And then on the left side, I just added a picture from one of the pumps on site when we were pouring the walls towards the end of last week. And then, like Angel mentioned, we're going to be finishing up the walls tomorrow. So we're eager to get that done so we can start backfilling the pool pit and get that all wrapped up.
Good. All right. So I know we only got a few minutes left as far as upcoming work. First things first, the question, we got a big check mark, right? They're open. So I checked that off, and I added Vita Center to the map over there. March of 2023, we are on track for these buildings to be November of 2022, and these and the Vita to be March of 2023. That was way more complicated than it needed to be for a guy like me to get that little teal building on there. Had to enlist some help. Okay, so upcoming work. We've talked a lot about it. You're going to have the roof of this we're basically trying to get out in front of the roofer and make sure the roofer can continue, right? Because once we're dry, it opens up a lot of work for us. So the roofing will continue over here on the E building, and we're finishing up the metal deck over here. We've got some screen wall posts to put in, and roofing's getting ready to start over there on the Fun building as well. This framing will complete this month. We'll be totally topped out structurally. And once that framing is complete and we get it inspected, it'll look like this, and the roofer will go right there. Right? So we're roofing as fast as we can do it. Yes, ma'am. You're talking going from here to here? I think it's pretty open. There are some, all the breezeways and walkways between the units have roof, but I don't believe there's anything right here. There's some canopies in this area here. I don't know, Gretchen, if you know.
Yeah, there's actually, there's a path. There's a definite path you can take. You could actually go through,
You go this way, right?
yeah, you could go through this way. There's a door, right about here somewhere where the stairs
Yep.
are, the elevator and the stairs are in this
Yep.
area,
Right
and
here.
come out right through here. There's this, we call it a donut. It's square. It's not round. I'm not sure why we call it a donut,
Yeah.
but it's a covered walkway. It's huge. You can actually see the posts for it around here, and it's covered. So there's a lot of outdoor coverage space to use to access when it rains, but there is a path that you can take through the buildings to get to the Fun building, so you don't have to miss out on your happy hour drink or meal in the evening. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? I think we've hit on everything we were hoping to hit on this month. So if there's no other questions, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.